a Distillery Channel network production, bringing you the DistilleryChannel.com.
Welcome to another edition of Distilleries of the World. I'm Michael Stewart, America's #1 wino. Joined to my right this week by our brewery master, Timothy Bona.
Yeah, you're pretty proud of that, aren't you?
I am.
You ready to do some bar in the bottle?
I'm ready to do it, yes. And joining us over there on the far right is Randy Weckerly of the DistilleryChannel.com.
Barn to bottle.
Bottle.
How's that work?
Everybody's comfortable now with this farm to
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
This libation style is taking off. Now we're doing some bar in the bottle.
Barn to bottle. I like that, yeah.
Minnesota is calling.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are heading to Minnesota. And, Randy, why don't you give us a little thumbnail of what's coming up on the show?
I have no idea. So we're going to Minnesota. No, we got some great interviews up there. It's, of course, land of 10,000 lakes. We're going to
And
have this
Paul Bunyan, right?
biggest Paul Bunyan, I think.
Oh, actually, you were talking about Paul Bunyan statue and the Big Blue, the ox,
Right.
which actually fell over.
Yeah.
In a storm a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Large stump. And then places to go for the kids. And Weird Al Yankovic's bringing us into what do the kids like in Minnesota, Tim?
Oh, the ball of twine. Right? The big ball of twine?
Things are a little slow.
17,000 pounds, 12 feet in diameter.
Of twine?
Twine.
Yeah.
Twine.
Who would want to go see that?
What's the purpose?
Someone with a lot of imagination.
And not only that, Weird Al Yankovic decided that he's going to make a song in tribute to that we're listening to right now. About taking the kids in Minnesota to the biggest ball of twine.
Well, we all know that the best spirits are made in the most wild places.
I want to tell you, well, when you have a land of 10,000 lakes, as I was saying earlier, they have 123 mud lakes, named Mud Lake, and 224 named Rice Lake. And then there's another one in there for a couple hundred. So when you say you want to go to Rice Lake, honey, let them out the door.
Well, Minnesota is known for wild rice.
Is that right?
Production's
Yes.
way
Yeah.
down. Way
Production
down.
of wild rice
The natural rice is way down.
They are one of the leaders of wild rice production because I used to work for somebody that used to produce wild rice.
The younger generation doesn't want to go through all the hard work of harvesting it.
I'll tell you what.
So it's infused with all this homegrown stuff that's harvested mechanically. Anyway.
But that's you get up there, that's why it's very expensive. And wild rice is very expensive because it's very hard to harvest.
Is it really? Yes. I had no idea. I know one time that we went to Paul Bunyan's in the Dells, the true story, my grandmother, she goes in, of course, at a buffet.
Right.
You can...
The Paul Bunyan buffet.
In the Dells. Wait a minute. I think they had the Ryder Cup at some point in time.
Very recently.
Yeah.
In the autumn.
That's right.
Yeah, you can hear the cheers.
There you go.
Still echoing.
Minnesota, the Twin Cities. Hazeltine.
Yeah, what a great track. Wonder,
First visit ever to Minnesota for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
41st Ryder Cup.
Incredible. Anyway, my grandmother is at Paul Bunyan's at the Dells, and I'm a little kid, about 12, and of course you're not supposed to there's no taking home.
Right.
She decides to wrap up the wild rice in a napkin.
Oh, my goodness.
And she goes, shh, don't tell anybody. The problem was when we got home, this big ball of wild rice in the bottom of her purse soaked through. And that was in the bottom of her purse. So, did my grandmother veer off the track? No, she just got a spoon out. Get it out of the bottom of her purse.
My goodness.
So that's how you grow up in Wisconsin. You harvest wild rice in a purse.
Wild rice mixing with old perfume.
Oh, it was lovely. Lavender tasting.
Now, speaking of food, we're going to the Spam Museum on this show.
Awesome.
Spam.
I cannot wait to open that up. And we're going to talk about the 50 strangest things and a new bat species that they found in Minnesota.
All that and more on Distilleries of the World next.
This is a Distillery Channel network production. Bringing you the distillerychannel.com.
Welcome to another edition of Distilleries of the World Show. I'm Michael Stewart, America's #1 wino, joined on my right by our brewmaster, Timothy Bona.
You know, the Vikings didn't drink much wine, did they? They were more hardcore.
Vikings?
A lot of Vikings up there in Minnesota, you know.
Yeah, well, they drink stuff made out of honey.
That's right.
I know that. And, of course, on our right over there is Randy Weckerly with the distillerychannel.com.
Hello, boys.
How are you?
I'm okay now that I'm on the air with you guys. I feel safe and secure and got my seatbelt on and my makeup on, and I put a little perfume on just to make it lively.
This is where we talk about the world's lifelong pastime, and that is booze. Right?
Oh, booze.
Okay, there you go.
Libations.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out our latest radio shows, TV shows, articles, blogs, all that stuff on the distillerychannel.com. And, of course, you can do Facebook and Twitter. And, we are heading to our featured destination.
Blow your own horn.
There you go. Blow your own horn. We're featuring Minnesota. There you go,
yeah.
Minnesota, where they
Yeah.
just had the Ryder Cup. And, Randy, why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, we have coming in in a couple minutes here, we have from J. Carver Distillery, one of the founding partners. We're going to have Gina Holman, who's going to be talking to us about her founding partnership, and she's doing a little bit of work. She had done a little bit of work at the Ryder Cup, and exciting time. So, Gina, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Well, welcome to the show. We got Michael Stewart and Tim Bona. Excited to talk to you,
Hello.
and they're here somewhere.
Hello there.
They're so pretty.
Hi, Gina.
All right, now
How are you doing?
let's get to the bar and the bottle.
Let's get to the bar and the bottle. There you go.
Well, a lot of things are going on at J. Carver. How long? You got some other things that you've worked on in the past few days also at the Ryder Cup. Was that a pretty exciting event for you, Gina?
Oh, it's been fantastic, yes. So we were at the Explore Minnesota. Now I'm realizing that you guys saying it, we do sound like that.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Which was exciting, showing everybody the beautiful things happening here. And yes, the distillery is off and booming out in Waconia, so just about 10 miles west of Hazeltine National Golf Course, where the Ryder Cup is taking place. So very, very exciting times. We're seeing probably an influx of about 35 to 50,000 people through the area as the Ryder Cup is in town.
That is amazing. The crowds just, they look spectacular on TV when we were looking at it. So, anyway, we want to get to J. Carver Distillery. Tell us how long you've been in business, where you're, what's going on down there to make people travel, when they come to the state of Minnesota, come down and see what's going on.
Well, exciting. We are a grain-to-glass distillery, so we're working with all of our local farmers about 20 miles from the distillery, and instead of being a silo brand, we're very much a breadth of spirits. We've been open and distilling for 2 years. We took over the Pontiac car dealership in town, amazingly, where it sat vacant for over 2 years, and so we repurposed the building and amazingly worked very well. So we have 2 vodkas, 4 different gins. We have a bourbon, a rye whiskey. We actually make 4 different grappa, amazingly. We have 3 wineries about 2 miles from the distillery, so we get all of their leftover hummus and have made 4 different grappa. And then near and dear to my heart, we actually, with having the University of Minnesota Arboretum just down the road from the distillery, we make an apple brandy that we released last year and now have our second batch coming out in November.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I think is
brand.
now is it Calvados or Calvado, or how's that pronounced? I mean, is that what you're talking
you
about
can
there?
Say Calvados. It's kind of the tomato. A lot of people will say Calvados or Calvados, but I say Calvados.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. As I said, we did a little segment when we were when the girls in the golf were playing a major over in France, and we had the same discussion. How do you pronounce that? But because it was a French, because I think they used apple and pears and all kinds of things just to give it different flavors.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think what's interesting for people that are either dabbling into the distillery world or really seeing the boom that's happening with the spirits across the country, as far as brandy versus whiskey, people don't realize that brandy is made from grapes. I mean, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I never knew that. So brandy, grapes, of course, if you're in Calvados, you're thinking of apples.
Right.
When you're down by Cognac, that's where you're seeing all of the beautiful grapes being harvested and then distilled. So at J. Carver Distillery, what we're excited about is brandy needs to be aged for at least 2 years. So we worked with some local cooperages here in Minnesota, and we will be releasing our grape brandy probably, I would say, around March of 2017.
Wow.
Which we were just tasting some of the samples last week, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's true. It sounds great. I can't wait to get up and taste them and come to Minnesota.
Great job going up and tasting brandy. Huh?
Well, on the distillerychannel.com, we have
Hey, we have to make sacrifices, right?
We got to make sure that they're.
There you go, right.
It's
and
tough.
the exciting thing too with even Minnesota and what's happening around here is, we have the climate, that more cool climate. So rye has really seen a renaissance in the, mixology world when you're seeing all these pre-prohibition cocktails coming back. And so really I think Minnesota will be put on the map, give us another 5-10 years, and I really think that we're going to be rye capital of the world.
Hey, Gina, it's Michael again. I got to ask you about rye because I've been watching some old movies. I mean, like 30s and 40s movies, and rye was, it was like the old, Private Eye movies. It's like the Humphrey Bogart type, and the guy would always have a bottle. They'd always have a bottle of rye, and then up until what you just said, I really, other than way back then, I've never even heard of rye. And now you're saying it's making a comeback. Yeah.
And so reason being, and why rye's seeing the renaissance again is because, pre-prohibition times, totally thinking of that, rye was the whiskey that all of those sweet boys were drinking back in the day. And then once prohibition, we went through all of that, rye just kind of took a back seat to bourbon. And so rye literally was that spirit where, if you think, okay, I love cocktails and I love Manhattans, or even think of the Sazerac, some of those types of cocktails, they were all based off of rye.
Hey, Gina, just quickly, give us your .com here quickly. We're running.
Stand up to all of the vermouth,
right,
to just make this very well-balanced, delicious cocktail.
Hey, Gina, what's your website, real quick? We got to go.
Oh, gotcha. Well, then you have me back again.
Yes,
we will. Absolutely.
Distillery.com.
That's awesome, Gina. Thanks a lot. We'll have you come back very soon. We'll be in touch.
Oh, you guys, it's been a pleasure.
Hey, thanks, Gina.
Thanks, Gina.
Have a good one.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, we'll be back with more booze news on the Distilleries of the World show.
Hello, and greetings from the Delta Diner. Some restaurants like to brag about how many McPeople they've McServed. And at the Delta Diner, I guess we're not above that either. Since we faithfully rebuilt our original 1940 Silk City Diner a few years back, we've served dozens of dozens. And not to brag, but we would have served even more if not for the fact that we're out here an hour away from most folks. But then our customers consider the drive and the long wait once they get here well worth it, which tells you more about our food than any adjectives I could come up with. Plus, how much quality family time can you get at those dime a dozen places where the longest part of your drive is from the order speaker to the pickup window? And don't miss Burger Mondays, the only day we serve burgers. You can find out more about our weekly burger options by visiting our Facebook page, if that's your kind of thing. The Delta Diner on County H and Delta, in the middle of nowhere and like nowhere you've ever eaten.
Welcome back to Distilleries of the World. I'm Tim Bona, the brewerologist with probably the most Nordic heritage on the table here. We're talking about Minnesota this week. See the high cheekbones? Yeah. And I thought I wasn't in Jamaica. They all thought I was from Norway when I was in Jamaica.
Did you have your DNA done? I did. I had mine done, and it's almost 100% Scottish, English, and Irish.
Where did Randy come from, our tasteologist?
Yeah, where's your tasteology from? Yeah.
I'm a 100% pure German.
Yeah.
Pure German. Weckerly in German
Well, we
means
got a lot of Germans in
wake early,
Minnesota.
and that's why I like beer.
Yeah.
Comes natural.
Yeah.
And then more beer.
A natural brewmaster.
Yeah, I am. Huh? Yeah, no, I'm a drink master. I'm a tasteologist.
Oh, mix a tasteologist?
Tasteologist. I taste anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all good.
the only time I've ever gotten seasick was on the North Sea off the coast of Norway, which I visited several times. But, oh my gosh, what a humbling feeling. So there's some Scandinavian there. You're the wineologist, right?
Wineologist.
Michael Stewart?
Yes.
What does a wineologist do?
Drinks a lot, sleeps a lot.
Apparently, we have the resume
you drink,
for this.
you pass out, and you wake up and you
Hey,
drink some more.
before we get to
Yeah.
our
What?
booze news here,
Booze
and
news, yeah.
we're going to talk about the little blue can of the past, present, and future. And what would that be, Randy?
The little blue can.
The little blue can.
Yeah,
Of
well,
the past, present, and future.
Yes.
Wait,
right.
Okay, I would say Pabst.
that would be
Blue ribbon.
not right, but a good clue.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good.
We're talking spam.
Oh, Spam.
And not in your computer.
Where did you bring this Spam up? Okay.
We're gonna use that as an appetizer this evening.
Spam?
Spam.
But,
You ever had spam?
I have not.
I have not.
I have not either. That's why I decided we better.
It's a luxury item in Southeast Asia. They give it as a wedding gift.
They do, and in Hawaii they have restaurants everywhere that focus on spam.
Where?
Hawaii, all over,
They focus on Spam?
all spam.
They live on this. That's
They do.
from all the soldiers there during the war.
Right.
But hey, we digress away from the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you know that
The Vikings did
1,000 years ago the Vikings were in America? We know this. It's been proven.
Yeah, that's about right.
Since the 19th century, a total of 15 ships, Norwegian ships, have been found up in Minnesota, the Dakotas, and evidence of
How
these
did they get
finds
to
has
Minnesota?
not been entered into the official record books yet.
What? That's
They will not
fair.
recognize the Nordic tradition in Minnesota because the Native Americans are claiming everything. God bless them too, but
How did they get to Minnesota
I don't know. They're tough.
by ship?
I don't know. This is before the St. Lawrence Seaway, obviously.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. How did they get there?
I think they
don't
carried them.
know.
How did they carry a giant ship?
Well, they
I don't know.
carried their little boats.
So the Native Americans and the Eskimos, under federal law, ownership of everything found in America from before 1492 belongs to them. But the Vikings are like, where's our slice?
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
Hey,
You
how
know.
about a little something for the effort?
well, I think there's sometimes we still feel the same with our own government. Where's my slice? You know?
All right, Randy, we
What?
teed it up. Let's get
right.
to the undisputed king of mystery meat.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Help us out.
What has
with
this
this.
stuff got in it?
here is three people.
Besides lips and
that
Oh, yeah.
that
You got something against pig parts and secret spices?
No, actually,
something I said?
it doesn't sound that bad. It's actually sort of made me hungry, and I just can't believe it. It's at first glance.
Because the museum is what?
Well, they got
20 miles south of
Wait,
Minneapolis.
Yeah,
They have a spam museum.
Spam museum,
They make it all in Minnesota.
and they have hours.
They make spam in Minnesota.
Yes, just south of.
All right.
And they're so busy, I couldn't get through to get them on air because I kept calling and calling. You got to come on air, but apparently they have a museum.
And they have a spam museum.
Just
and,
south, yes.
and we have nothing else to do in
South of
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
South of Minneapolis. South of the
Really?
Twin Cities.
Yeah. So let's talk about spam.
The meats have many uses. Go, Randy.
Well, first the pork and the ham are pre-ground, and then when they make it, they put in salt, sugar. The rest of the ingredients are added and mixed for 20 minutes to reach the desired temperature. I wonder if that's an internal heat. Let that self-cook. From there, the mixture is moved over to the canning line, and then they're filled into familiar metal cans, 12 ounces at a time. Once filled, cans are conveyed to a closing machine, and the lids are applied and a vacuum packed. Next, the cans are
It's cooked in the can.
cooked in the can,
Yes.
and last forever. However, they do suggest when zombie apocalypse comes about, check the date in the can.
Yes.
They're not sure.
They're not sure.
What? Do they say how long it really lasts?
They don't.
They don't. They will not.
You have to check
they-
it.
no.
So there's no
Can.
Okay.
No.
There's no
And,
expiration date on it.
It says forever. I think no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, the Spam American Tour is ongoing. It's over in Hawaii right now. The
Spam American Tour?
Yes. On the Spam American Tour, you will learn that...
You are kidding me.
Back at the factory, Hormel factory, just south of Minneapolis.
Let me guess. Are there celebrity chefs
Yes.
cooking spam?
All right, here we go.
All right.
12.8 cans per second. 15 varieties, 40 countries,
15 varieties?
8 billion cans sold. Hawaii, they go through 7 million in a year of Spam.
Of spam?
Yeah, the largest music festival in Hawaii is the Spam Jam.
The Philippines spam.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go
No.
ahead.
Brand craves is so strong that it inspired a restaurant based entirely around the brand. Spam Jam restaurant in the Philippines.
Right.
Magical place where you can order spam burger, hamburgers, spam spaghetti, spam and egg, and a multitude of other spam dishes. So,
You are kidding me.
How tall is Big Ben in England? How many cans, you think?
don't know.
How tall?
I'm sure I'm
Big
going to find
Ben?
out.
1,163 Spam brand containers tall, Big Ben. And as we mentioned earlier, as you're kind of alluding to it, it's huge in Southeast Asia. It's a luxury item. It's a wedding gift in Asia.
What?
350 cans a minute are consumed around the world. This is unbelievable stuff.
I think there
You
was.
are kidding.
What a country.
Huh? Wow.
Here's another item is that the following reflect the opening fair dates where you can go, and the recipe competition in 26 of the country's top state and county fairs.
Yes.
Yeah, so Illinois is there, Minnesota, of course, is there, Kentucky, Kansas, Iowa. Won't read them all. You can find them in the Spam Museum website.
And if you've never tasted Spam,
I don't think I ever have. So.
their promoters say in one word, it's magic.
We'll go with that.
A little pork roast that good.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Check that Best Buy date.
Oh, my goodness.
I was going to say, that's...
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, World War II is when they introduced Spam in Hawaii, and I'm telling you, over there, you can go get Spam 24/7. And usually it's with a lot of eggs, and a lot of potatoes, and Spam. Piled in a pile.
All right, we're moving on now.
I've seen like slices of corned beef hash. Is that kind of what it is? It's like canned corned beef hash. I've seen that.
Spam.
Oh, remember the Monty Python sketch about Spam?
No.
Did you see
Oh,
the Monty
Spam-A-Lot.
Spam-A-Lot.
Spam-A-Lot. Yeah.
In Spam-A-Lot.
Spam-A-Lot. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Are we done with spam?
We're done. Yeah.
Let's move on to unsolicited electronic messages now.
Okay.
Oh, that's the same topic.
Different Spam. Different taste test.
How about
We
this?
got some-
Okay, we got more
Booze news?
We have
there.
more booze news. All right. Sober people make drinkers feel drunker.
There you go.
Are we out of time?
No, not at all. Just keep going. That horn just goes off just because you're in Minnesota.
Okay, Minnesota. This is from LiveScience.com. A new study from the United Kingdom suggests that being surrounded by sober individuals may actually have a sobering effect.
Really?
Yes. The researchers found that people who were surrounded by other intoxicated people were more likely underestimate their own levels of drunkenness. People evaluate their own levels of drunkenness by comparing themselves to other people around them. And when they're surrounded by drunk people, they are more accepting of being drunk. It appears that drinkers are more self-aware of their own level of intoxication when they are in the presence of those who are sober.
There's a lot going on there, psychologically, socially, physically.
You like that?
I'm still trying to wrap my.
Well, I think what you defined was college.
Yes.
College. I mean, kids in college, when they go in there, everybody's drinking, everybody drinks. You know, if you went in there and said, I'm going to be sober and everybody's drinking, you're going to be like, really? You know? I mean, it's just sort of a leveling process. So,
Actually, here, okay.
All right.
What else?
Talking about college. I got one
There you
for
go.
college. Here
All
you go.
right.
How to protect your college freshmen from the dangers of drinking.
That's a good
The
topic.
do's and don'ts. All right. Do have the talk. Okay? You know what
Okay.
it is. Okay, the talk about, getting intoxicated.
Right.
Do stay in touch. You need to call, text, message, etc. with your teenager
Right.
at college. Do make sure your child gets mental health tune-ups if needed. If your family history has an exposure to alcoholism.
No, that's
right?
important.
Don't assume, here's a note, don't assume the college will protect your child.
All right, not at all.
They won't. All right. Don't train them ahead of time, which means go and have parties
No.
to get them ready
No.
for college,
No.
all right? That's not what you need
I've
to
seen
do.
that happen. That is not good.
And here's the last one. Don't brag about how blitzed you got in college.
That would be,
won't help.
baby boomers would tend to do that. All right, we're going to be ending this segment. That booze news,
I'm full for some reason.
I don't know.
There you go. Yeah,
Spam.
spam.
Doesn't that just make you want to
Spam
go out
a
and
lot.
get a couple fried eggs and some potatoes and
You can
some...
do whatever you want.
We go get big
Saute it.
warm beer, and we'll sit down.
Pretzel dip.
Apparently, the beauty of it is you can do anything you want to.
You can. I got to go. Now I really want to taste it now.
I really do, too.
I do. I just... All
You believe in
right.
magic?
Coming back, we're going to be talking to a great distillery up in the state. They make stuff out of things they pick up in the forest. So anyway, come back. We'll be back soon. DistilleryChannel.com, Distilleries of the World. Welcome back, Distilleries of the World, with a very special moment coming up from way up in upper Minnesota.
Yeah, we're going up to the tip of the largest freshwater lake in the world. Michael Stewart, our local wino. What would that be? Which lake is that?
Lake Superior.
Yeah, I'm going to set up Emily's interview with this. To say that Lake Superior is the greatest of the Great Lakes is to say much. But it draws no picture of the vastness of this haughty queen of freshwater who has a copper crown, the iron hills for a footstool, and the coldest blue eyes in creation. Facts and figures are poor measures of true greatness, which goes beyond reason and must be judged by impressions.
I don't think it gets above 60.
No.
And Emily's going to help us with this whole concept.
We are, and I'm going to tell you the interesting thing about what we're going to find out is that they have some really interesting ways that they put together their little liquid nourishment out there. It's very, very, very cool. It's a great story. And if Emily, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, very good. Emily Weckerly. Did I pronounce that right yet? Weckerly?
Keep trying. It's Vitra.
Vitra, you got to work on your Norwegian, yeah?
Well, why did I send it?
Vitra.
I'll send it down to the Norwegian in the
Yes.
middle here because we've been studying about, and I can't pronounce it, but we can always fantasize. I'm the tasteologist. Michael's the wine. And what are you?
It depends on what day of the week we're talking about.
Oh, my goodness. You're Norwegian, I guess, is what you're trying to say. All right. Well, Emily, we're really excited about having you come on air because you have some really interesting things that I was reading about.
Thank you.
From the way that you use the water supply up there and your eco-mindedness. But more than anything, the interesting thing is that where you gather some of the nuggets to put into your products. So tell us a little bit about that firsthand. When you started, how you got into it, and why, and how you produce your brands.
Yeah, so we started about 3 years ago, and we had the idea about 1 year before that. And I grew up in Duluth, so on the tip of Lake Superior's vast, giant expanse of freshwater. And it's always been the home to me. I've always said that Lake Superior's horizon line is etched in my soul. But I was living in Boston with my husband, Joel, working in things completely unrelated to distilled spirit. But we were back in Duluth visiting my parents and drinking, having dinner, having this conversation about Prohibition, because we were in this cool old building in Duluth that had rum runners tunnels and hidden cabinets from Prohibition. So talk turned to whiskey, and we have this realization that Minnesota has really interesting, potentially amazing terroir and potentially amazing natural resources for making whiskey. And as soon as we had that thought, both Joel and I were like, let's do this. Let's move back to Duluth and start a distillery. And we started researching, and the idea sort of expanded to be a variety of spirits that are all inspired by this area and ingredients from this area. And we quit our jobs in Boston and moved back here and started work on raising money, and started producing about 3 years ago. And in the process, discovered many things about ourselves and the place. Learned that we had pretty good skill sets for complementing each other. I'm good with flavors, and Joel's good with plumbing, and you don't need that much more to run a distillery.
Entrepreneurism at its height.
Hey, Emily. Emily Smichael, before you continue on, what are some of those ingredients that make it unique?
Yeah, so we make 3 varieties of gin, all inspired by the North Woods. We were so inspired by the different botanicals here that we decided to make 3 different expressions of gin, because gin has to have juniper berries, and we do use some local juniper berries that we pick out on Wisconsin Point. But from there, you can really be creative with the botanicals. And so one of our gins has rhubarb that we grow in our backyard and those local juniper berries. One of our gins, our spruce gin, has spruce tips that we forage. It has herbs like lavender and rosemary that we grow. And then our third gin is kind of the most unique, least traditional, and it has staghorn sumac, it has cedarwood, it has black currants that we pick in Bayfield, Wisconsin. And Blake.
Wow.
So really an interesting variety of things. And then our whiskeys, we use local grain that's grown on farms really close by, and we use barrels from White Swan, which is a cooperage in Minnesota, and everything is underpinned by that Lake Superior water, which is a really essential part of the brewing process, an essential part of the distilling process, also essential for proofing down your spirits at the end. And with the eco-minded thing that you're talking about, there is we get our grains from close by, and we bring our spent grains to a pig farm that is next door, basically, to the grain farm where we get our grain, and the pigs get to eat the spent grain, and then they get to fertilize the grain field.
And they're happy when you bring it over.
Little loop there. And then we've also recently put in a system for recapturing all of our processed water. Distilling often uses water to cool off the vapors back into condensate, and in many distilleries that water, once it's used, just goes down the drain. And so we decided to use Duluth's extreme natural coldness to cool that processed water back off, so that we can just keep reusing it in a loop, so that we're not sending water down the drain. And so in the last year, we've reduced our water use by tens of thousands of gallons, we think.
Emily, it's Tim again. Obviously, the Northern Woods is your inspiration up there. You're of Norwegian heritage, so we have to get to your aquavit, the original Scandinavian distilled spirit. Tell us a little bit about what we can experience with that beverage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm American dual citizen, actually. My mom is from Norway, and I was raised spending part of the year there every year. And so I as soon as we decided we were doing a distillery, I also knew we wanted to make aquavit. And our aquavit is really inspired by my parents, by other Scandinavian immigrants that came to this area, and their stories and the flavors that they brought with them from home. And so our aquavits are, they're a caraway
forward, but they have a lot of other Scandinavian baking spices in them, kind of inspired by the spices that you would find in something like a limpa bread. There's cardamom, there's peppercorns, there's some clove and ginger and a little bit of orange peel. So very fragrant, kind of less aggressive than a lot of aquavits. They're some of my favorite spirits that we make actually for making cocktails. So they're great, of course, for sipping chilled with heavy meals in a traditional manner, but they're also really fun for making cocktails with kind of in place of gin and getting creative.
Hey, Emily Vikra joins us, Vikra Distillery in Duluth, Minnesota. All right. You've got, what do you brew in, what do you keep in the used cognac barrels?
So that's our aged aquavit. So one of our aquavits is unaged. That's a more traditional style in Sweden and Denmark. It's called a toffel aquavit. And then more traditional in Norway is to age aquavit. And they usually use sherry barrels, but I decided I wanted to make our aged aquavit in cognac barrels in homage to my tante Mari, my great aunt, who had cognac with coffee after every dinner, basically. And
so a little French influence there, yeah.
Great Norwegian woman, So our aged aquavit is aged in cognac barrels that we get from Duluth Barrel Works.
Well, wow. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be the tasteologist on this. That's all there is. Anyway,
you sound like the ultimate eco-friendly distillery in the country.
They are.
We're really trying to. We have we incorporated with what's called the Triple Bottom Line book. Joel and I worked in kind of nonprofits and research and things like that, and so we really wanted to take that ethos into our for-profit business. And so we have what's called a Triple Bottom Line, where we hold ourselves to valuing people, planet, and profit equally. It's like we give health and benefits to our employees and living wages, and we're really committed to always considering kind of the environmental aspects of our decision making. We are a producer, so we do use different natural resources and use energy, and we're just trying to innovate and be conscientious about how we do that, and hopefully eventually have models that other distilleries can actually follow to be, really sustainable manufacturers.
Emily, the best spirits are made in the most wild and natural places. Where can our listeners and our connoisseurs go to learn more about what you're up to up in the Duluth area?
You can come to vikredistillery.com, VIKRE distillery.com. We've got a lot of great information on our website. You can check us out on Facebook at Vikre Distillery, or you can make your way up to Duluth and come visit us. We're right on the bay of the lake, right by Duluth's famous aerial lift bridge, and you can come in and take a tour.
All right, I haven't been back to Norway in a while. How do you say cheers in Norwegian again?
Skål.
Skål.
Skål. All right, thanks, Emily.
Thanks, Emily. I can't wait to get up there. There's
that is great.
All kinds of reasons. I want to unfold that even more. Anyway, Emily Vikra.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great.
Distillery.com. There you go.
All right. Thanks a lot, Emily.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Hello, and greetings from the Delta Diner. You know, some restaurants like to brag about how many McPeople they've McServed. And at the Delta Diner, I guess we're not above that either, since we faithfully rebuilt our original 1940 Silk City Diner a few years back. We've served dozens of dozens. And not to brag, but we would have served even more if not for the fact that we're out here an hour away from most folks. But then our customers consider the drive and the long wait once they get here well worth it, which tells you more about our food than any adjectives I could come up with. Plus, how much quality family time can you get at those dime a dozen places where the longest part of your drive is from the order speaker to the pickup window? And don't miss Burger Mondays, the only day we serve burgers. You can find out more about our weekly burger options by visiting our Facebook page, if that's your kind of thing. The Delta Diner on County H and Delta, in the middle of nowhere and like nowhere you've ever
Welcome back to Distilleries of the World. I'm Michael Stewart, joined by Tim Bona and Randy Weckerly, the owner of the Distillery Channel.com. And Timmy, what do we got for?
Yeah, we're going to go to the tasting
for
room.
our tasting room
we had
here.
Jay
Yeah.
Carver up in
Yeah.
in the.
But they've got a gin or something, right?
And we
What are they-
neglected their gin. They've got a. They're up in just west of Minneapolis, St. Paul, I believe. And,
Okay.
She was on with us earlier, and they've got a German Steinhager style gin. Randy, you should be all over this.
Randy.
Randy,
Uh-huh.
are you
Want to
there?
get into the
Get
tasting
into
room.
the tasting room. There's
Into the
people
tasting room
outside.
we go.
Yeah. Okay? You're German. What is this?
Steinhager.
Steinhager. What is
Style
that?
gin. Ever heard of that?
Style gin.
Steinhager would
All
be
right.
the Stein, and the Hager would be too much. Too much Stein.
So
I
this
don't
is
know.
native to Germany, dating back to the 17th century. Traditionally, it's made from red winter wheat and juniper from the Teutoburg forest. over there
Red
in
winter
Germany.
wheat.
Remember the Teutoburg forest?
Yeah.
Remember the forest?
Yeah,
Famous
yeah,
forest
okay.
in Germany? That's
Okay.
where Herman the German defeated the Romans back in the day.
Herman the German.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
All right,
Herman
so
the German.
Jay Carver gin here
Yeah.
is smooth, crisp, but a little bit sweet.
A little bit
All right?
sweet. Okay.
You can detect the juniper in there. And it's not one of those gins that tastes more like a vodka. You know, you get too much of that going on
Yeah.
out there.
Right.
Although it's not a strong, fragrant gin.
Okay.
It's not spiced either, thank goodness.
Okay.
Too much of that going on out there.
All right.
But like some gins with a wide variety of botanicals. We were talking about
Really?
earlier about those.
Okay.
So this is a simple and delightful wheat and juniper.
Okay. Wheat and juniper. I'm not a big.
So-
You know what? I'm not a big gin fan, but that's something. Sounds like something I would try.
So that's the J. Carver gin. Pardon me, it's the German Steinhager style
Steinhager?
gin from J. Carver Distillery in the tasting room this week.
I should know better than that because I love gin.
Yeah. You really? I'm not a big gin fan. But,
Yeah, one of my wife's name was Jen. Not for that. It didn't age. Yeah, she did age well. She's a wonderful mother of my kids. So
Took him one date. What's your name, Jim?
Jen.
Okay.
I'm in.
You know what? I'm in. Yeah.
no, she's great. She's wonderful.
All right, I got a couple of. We got some news and trivia here. I got some good stuff here. All right. First of all, let me get this out of the
And
way.
then we'll get back to Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. We got 400 chefs are going to be in the ultimate food fight in Orange Beach, Alabama, and that's coming up in mid-November. World Food Championships. Want to tell everybody about that? 400 teams from 45 states and 20 countries will compete in a World Food Championship at the Ultimate Food Fight at the Wharf at Orange Beach, Alabama. I bring that up because I was actually there in
Really?
the Orange Beach, Alabama, there, and I went out on a press tour, okay, and out on a tuna boat.
Really?
And I had, for the first time, I can't stand sushi.
Right.
Okay. But they actually caught the tuna, filleted it right
Wow.
there, and it was like steak.
Wow.
It was absolutely unbelievable, fresh tuna like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. But that's where they're going to have this ultimate food fight. There you go.
You know, when it comes to tuna, most people, when they cook tuna, they cook it way too long. 2 minutes each side.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing.
All right.
Got another one before we get back to Minnesota?
I got one more. I got something else here. Hangover-free alcohol.
Please.
Awesome.
Yes. Everybody, listen.
Okay.
Professor David Nutt.
Okay.
N-U-T-T.
All right.
Developed hangover-free alcohol. This is from the bbcnews.com, dated September 2016. A scientist, David Nutt, has developed a new type of alcohol which he claims will not damage the liver or leave you with a hangover. Alcosynth, Alcosynth, is made from synthesized chemicals and has been formulated by Professor David Nutt from Imperial College London to be hangover-free
Yes.
and no liver
Remember,
damage.
it's just a claim.
And
Say
you,
claim.
you do all the testing on that, Michael, because
I will, you know what? I will be happy to test all of it.
Speaking of claims, many have claimed the
Yes.
origins. Randy's been waiting all show for that.
What do you got for...
Many have been-
all right, we're going back
many
to
have been claiming-
Minnesota,
Many
yes.
have claiming they know where the Mississippi River actually begins.
you're the authority.
You know, it could be the little creek outside their house in northern Minnesota, but no, we're deferring to our tasteologist here.
Uh-huh.
No, I know where it
Where's the
starts.
origin?
No,
I
go
know where
ahead,
it
Michael.
starts.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure it starts because we've gone up to a golf resort north of Duluth.
Right.
And on the way up there, we passed by it says, this is the beginning of the Mississippi River.
Can you
And
step
it's on
across
the
it?
way up.
Is it a little?
There's a little
brook?
creek.
You go over a little creek, and they said, this is the beginning of the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And we passed...
There's lots of different claims up there.
When you look at the map, it says, and I think you and I talked about this, Tim, the Mississippi River begins at Lake Itasca in Minnesota.
But where does the lake get its water from? There's got to be some brooks or a creek.
Where is...
Or is it groundwater? Does it come up?
Okay,
from
where
the
is...
floor?
See, I'm not...
It's a hodge. It's way up north, and if you look at the map, so I said, well,
Yeah,
look
but-
at the map, and you could see it flowing. And no, it's just a hodgepodge of connected marshes, and
Yeah, but where is it?
way up north in north
Yeah, I know,
Minnesota.
but that's where I'm talking about.
Lake Itasca.
well, I'm
Yeah.
sure that we could be talking
North
about the same thing
Central.
because it goes forever.
Because Biwabik is where I'm talking about.
No,
Which is 40 miles south of the... basically 60 miles south of the International Falls.
yeah, it'd be about the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mississippi is the fourth longest body next to the Nile, Amazon, and Yangtze rivers, and it's 2,350 miles. Now, the one statistic I really found fascinating:
Right.
even though there are bull sharks in the Mississippi, nobody has been bitten by a shark in the Mississippi River in Minnesota.
How far up?
They do.
Do the bull sharks
They
go?
they're the only freshwater shark, and
I
they
know.
do bite people. I'm up to St. Louis and that area there.
They've
been,
gone up to St.
Oh
Louis.
yeah,
That
absolutely,
far up?
absolutely. They have not seen any in Minnesota, so it's safe to swim in the Mississippi.
I don't know. Yeah,
In
but you know
Minnesota.
what'll get you there are the freshwater barracudas.
Well, thank you for that.
Muskies. They're called muskies.
Yeah, they will if you put
Yeah,
a little. Yeah, if you put a
All
little.
right,
like,
before we get on, we got to talk
Yeah.
about just the theater of seasons they have
What?
in Minnesota, up in Minnesota. I mean,
Yeah.
this emerging and undefined industry of distillery. Just rare opportunities in the industry all over, and with the thrilling seasons they up and have, that'd be a perfect place to be a distiller. I would think in Minnesota because
Yeah.
of their late but intense spring, right? Cool air, right?
Right.
Summer of water sports, so they're out enjoying. The recreation is over the top up there with all their lakes, all the brilliant fall colors, and the state parks and hardwood forests up there, and their long winters made bearable by all those outdoor spots, land of hockey, and
a drinking.
I think
You know, in Minneapolis, they solved the problem
All
with
right.
cold by putting in 52 walkways between the buildings.
Right.
So you don't get cold. I mean,
Right.
you know,
Right.
it's awesome. Now, the cool thing in the summer, if you go tell your wife you're either going to go to Mud Lake, Long Lake, or Rice Lake,
Right.
in Minnesota alone, there are 201 Mud Lakes, there's 154 Long Lakes, and 123 Rice Lakes.
yes.
Go figure. I don't know. Seems like they'd be a little bit more original than that. Honey, I'm going to Rice Lake. Really? I don't know. Go look for me
There's
there.
some lutefisk
In the
up
land
there
of
on those lakes
10,000
up there,
lakes, you
Randy.
think they could have come up with a lot more
Lutefisk.
names.
You ever had lutefisk?
Oh,
I have not had lutefisk or spam.
It's a Scandinavian treat. It's huge up there in
Forget lutefisk.
Minnesota.
Really?
Traditional dish of some Nordic countries. That's aged stockfish, dried or salted. Lutefisk.
You know that Minnesota has 90,000 miles of shoreline, more than California, Florida, and Hawaii?
You combine all the lakes.
Yeah,
and
source. Well, it's
Lake
not the edge
Superior
of it. Yeah,
shoreline.
yeah.
and Just absolutely.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of the show, but these facts are there will be no test on Monday.
Water skis were invented up there.
Really? Okay, there you go.
All of America. Thank goodness we got to the shopping mall last.
Masking and Scotch tape was invented in Minnesota, and a pop-up toaster. Tim.
And those little 3M notes.
Yeah.
Post-it notes.
All right, say la vie to the land of 10,000 leagues. For Michael, for Randy, I'm Tim. Our toast this week goes as to health and prosperity. May you live as long as you like and have all you like as long as you live.
I like that. Cheers. I like that a lot. Drink responsibly, everybody out there. Come back next week for Tim, Michael, and myself, the Tasteologist. We had a great time.
As always.
Wonderful script.
There you go. Yeah.
And great people that we had on from Victory and the J. Carver establishments. Anyway, have a good evening, you guys.